Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 63 of The Clutch Dump. How are y'all doing? Welcome on in to the first episode where Ben and I are no longer in the same state. I am in Maricopa, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix, and this is the first episode as such. But while I'm sad, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about. I actually wrote a two-car garage. I actually had two cars selected prior to recording of this episode.
Nick did his homework on time.
Yeah, believe it or not. So, with that all being said, make sure to follow us right here on YouTube at the Clutch Dump Pod, if you have not already. Make sure to click that thumbs up on the YouTube video. And then make sure to follow us on all podcasting platforms that you enjoy or listen to. If you're Team Spotify or Team Apple Podcast or Pandora or Stitcher or Google Podcast. We are on all of them, so feel free to check us out on those platforms. Ben, hello. How are you?
Hi. I'm fantastic. I'm still in Texas, which you're not.
But I would like to show off my little office space.
I'm about the office space.
Formula E. I got all my karting trophies because I didn't know I had those anymore. Dale.
An abundance of Porsche memorabilia on the walls.
The Lego
Oh, look,
set.
more Porsches. Is that two more Porsches I see in the background? Oh, my gosh.
That's three. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So, but ladies and gentlemen, you will be happy to hear that actually the vehicle that I am, the vehicles, plural, that I have selected for my two-car garage, neither of which are Porsche. So you actually don't even need to worry about getting over Porsche'd this episode.
I was very upset. As soon as you told me the prompt, I knew why you did it. Like, I knew which cars you were gonna pick. I already planned out your two-car garage in my head, and I was gonna make a joke about the question is which 356 and which 1964 911 did he pick, and which one's the race car and which one's the car for the way back. But they don't know what any of that means. So Nick Patty, can you read out our two-car garage for this week?
Yes, I got you. So your name is Jonathan O'Brien, and you're an Irish immigrant who, after years of work, has made it to the top levels of Wall Street in the 1950s. You're looking for your vehicle to tackle the infamous Targa Florio. You must choose a sub 3-liter race car made between 1950 and 1965. You must also choose to drive home another 3-liter car made between 1950 and 1965, but it does not have to be a race car.
I just realized I was not told part of that rule set when I picked out my cars. So one of mine does not abide by those rules, but we're going to go for it anyway.
Smart.
You did not tell me that the car for the way back also had to be sub 3-liter, but it's close enough. It's fine. We'll figure it out. It's okay. It's fine. You didn't say that. You said sub 3-liter race car and then also a car for the way back when we were on the phone.
I figured that it would carry when I said, hey, all this and then a car.
I'm looking for every loophole I can get, so no, nothing was implied. Well, Nick Patty, your rule-abiding two-car garage, please.
Well, let's start with the race cars.
Of course.
That's what I'm most interested in. So, Ben.
Yes.
My car that's a race car is, without a doubt, the most, and I'm saying this unironically, the most beautiful car I have ever seen in my life. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
It is the 1957.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
1957 250 GT long wheelbase Berlinetta Tour de France Zagato.
Oh, the blue car.
It's like a silvery blue.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I read an article on that car this morning. Yeah.
It is
fantastic.
The most beautiful car I have ever seen. It's perfection.
There will be many pictures up here. Well, fantastic choice. I strived very hard to not pick a Ferrari 250 of any shape, fashion, or form. So I picked a 1954.
Okay.
actual 1954 Mille Miglia participant, a Ferrari 500 Mondial Pininfarina Spider.
Very good. Very good.
Yep.
An
Yep, yep,
excellent
yep.
choice, quite frankly.
It's fantastic. It's red. It's got a number on the side. It's got blue seats, a gated shifter, and it has a, 3-liter dual overhead cam inline four. It's fantastic.
You could ever want.
Yeah, it's great. It's an old Ferrari with spoked wheels and no passenger seat. What more could you possibly want?
Well, so are both your cars in the 50s, 1950s cars?
No, my next car this one is from the 1960s. I got to see when they started building that car, though. Let me check.
Well, while you do, I'll go ahead and introduce the folks into what my street car is for the drive back. I chose another Ferrari. And before I get too much further, the estimate on this one is $2 to $2.5 million.
Okay. Quick question.
Yeah.
The first car, do we know what that car is going to cost? No? Okay.
It's not even on the Sotheby's website. Like, they've announced that it's coming out.
Yeah, that it's happening, but it hasn't been on the Sotheby's website. And it'll probably be one of those things if they don't tell you how much it is, because it's one of those things of we don't know how much it will be. So my 54 500 Mondial did not sell, but it was bid to $2.12 million, and it did not sell.
Well,
but I did find more that sold for about 2.5, 2.6.
Well, this next car, my street car, I would actually take over a 500 Mondial. It is the 1953 Ferrari 212 Europa Coupe with the Vignale body on it, and it's at Gooding. It is stunning, quirky, cool.
What is that? Oh, that is sick.
So that's what I'll be driving back after.
I'm very about. Yeah, your second car is far more interesting than mine is. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. My problem, though, is I had these two cars in mind. That's what I went looking for. So, like, I didn't branch out. And I kind of wish I did.
Should have. I didn't even choose a Porsche.
I know. I'll be honest. I was so excited to make fun of you for picking Porsches, and then you went and picked two fantastic cars. Well done, sir. What'd you say the estimate on that was? Like 2.5?
2.1 to 2.5. Yeah.
Jesus. Ooh, that's a cool one that slammed. Nick would hate that. Anyway, my second car, which you could buy in 1958, but this particular one is a 1961 Aston Martin DB4.
Classic.
It's a very simple car. However, this one is not black. It's not silver. It's not white. It is blue.
One of the best colors, too.
And it looks fantastic. I'll copy this over into the docs for you to see. It looks fantastic. It's at the bottom of the notes for you to look at if you so choose. Yeah, it looks fantastic. I to be fair, it's a 3.7 liter inline six. My bad. I disobeyed the rules. But it's fine. It happens. I mean, yeah, I basically spent like all day today when I wasn't doing calculus or building a Challenger. I was looking at 50s and 60s cars. So I truly enjoyed this 2-car garage. It was fantastic. I totally expected you, because it was weird, because you gave not weird. It makes sense. But like, you gave the end date of 1965, and immediately in my mind I was like, yep, 9/11 started in 64. He's going straight for it. Freaking found a loophole, like gonna write a loophole into his thing.
Two Porsches I was considering. One was the 550A prototype, and then
the
other was a 718 RSK. Like, the 911 didn't even cross my mind.
I assumed that you were gonna pick 911 for the drive back. I thought you were gonna go for a 550 for the race car, but I assumed that you'd pick 911 for the drive back.
Close, I'm telling you.
Yeah. So that was a fantastic 2-car garage. Yours was for sure better than mine. Especially that 212. That thing is fantastic.
It's gorgeous.
Well, we're gonna run through some motorsport bits.
Yes.
This is not a motorsport episode. This is just a news episode, but we do have some motorsport bits that we think are relevant. Just because we'll forget about them by the time we go to do the motorsport episode on Monday.
Yep.
We have had some quite sudden shifts in management at 2 Formula One teams.
Yep.
So Alpine, Otmar, whose last name I cannot pronounce, but Nick might. No, okay. So Otmar, if you watch Formula One, you know who Otmar is. The team principal and Alain Permain, who is the sporting director, will be departing Alpine effective immediately after the Belgian Grand Prix, which by the way, is in 48 hours. So
love it. Because
Alpine
Esteban is now screwed. The only person that cared about Esteban was Otmar. And
I mean, yeah. So I mean, lots going on at Alpine. I think Alpine is going for major shift. I did hear
Alpine's done this 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah,
Like,
this is not new.
It has not been for more than 2 years. The
They
same.
have kept a team principal. Yeah.
Well, not even just team principal, but like the big wigs in the team have not been the same. Which I don't know what they think they're going to achieve when it's new people all the time.
Yeah, I don't get the sudden shift. Like, why now? It's not like the new guy's going to come in. Because, by the way, Bruno Famin? I don't know. Famin. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Probably something French that I'm getting wrong. Who is currently the Alpine Vice President of Motorsports, will step in as interim team principal. And I meant to go back and look at his interview before qualifying today, because I did listen to it. It was one of the worst interviews I have ever listened to by a team principal. Like, wouldn't give a straight answer, wouldn't actually answer anything, like, was just kind of like, it is what it is. I'm not the team principal. I'm the interim one. I'm only a stand. Like, was just not like, I'm here to like fix stuff.
You're an interim, but you're also the Alpine Motorsports vice president. So like the team, even if you're not the team principal, you should still know more than whoever the team principal is. Like, you're the team principal's boss.
Yeah, it just whatever's going on at Alpine is a disaster. So all I can say is congratulations to Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri. Well done, you did fantastic. The internet thought you was crazy. You were not crazy. So well done. And then at Ferrari, Laurent Mekies, who is the racing director, will leave Scuderia Ferrari effective immediately after the Belgian Grand Prix. They have not said who's replacing him, but we do know that is happening after this weekend's Grand Prix.
Right? The new team principal?
Yes, I think that's what's happening. However, I did hear a rumor about Alpine. To be fair, this could just be internet nonsense. Quite possibly is internet nonsense. But I read somewhere that Matteo Binotto is on the Alpine shortlist for a new team principal, which I find so hard to believe, but I don't know. I mean, I don't. To be fair, the problem is there's not a giant waiting list of Formula One team principals lying around. So
I mean, that's true, but
yeah, I don't know.
I have some motorsport news that I forgot to add to the show notes.
Please go ahead.
So, F1 demands Las Vegas venues pay for a view of the race.
Oh my gosh, I saw this.
Has allegedly threatened to block sightlines to the track for businesses that don't pay a hefty licensing fee. The license fee will equal the maximum occupancy of the licensee's venue multiplied by $1,500.
It's ridiculous, dude. $1,500 a person, or we're putting signs in front of your windows.
A person potentially in the business.
Right. They have to pay all of it, regardless of whether the business is full.
That's absurd. So that's the first bit of motorsports news that I have. Secondly, in 2024, only cars in the new LMG GT3 class of the... Okay, basically, each manufacturer is getting only 2 grid slots in World Endurance Championship for GTE, or GT3 now.
Right, so there won't be like a bajillion Porsches or a bajillion Ferraris. It'll be 2 Porsches and 2 Ferraris.
So Porsche is not running their own team. They have selected a privateer team. Which
I'm stoked about.
And they have chose Manti Racing.
Stoked for that.
So that's cool. A little bit of automotive news. On the drive, Porsche 911 will have a combustion engine for, quote, as long as possible. So for all of the when in doubt, flat out people and the people that just hate Europore, whatever. Porsche with synthetic fuels and not going EV in the 911 is Porsche is the lighthouse on the coast when there's the storm of EVs coming in. Porsche's like, we'll go down with this ship. Like, we are not doing it.
Well, I think that wave is kind of just hitting Volkswagen Group as a whole, because I can't remember who it was. It was like Volkswagen's head of PR or chief marketing director, somebody a couple weeks ago put out a statement that was like, yeah, EV sales have kind of slowed down. Pretty much everyone who wants one has kind of bought one, so we don't want to make these anymore.
Auction news.
Yeah.
Sotheby's, a
Yes.
2002 race-winning Ferrari F1 2001B, driven by Michael Schumacher, is coming up for auction.
Sick.
That's estimated to hit $15 million.
Nice.
Which at that point is just crazy talk. More auction stuff, which is sick. A Bob Bondurant Roy Salvadori 64 Shelby Cooper King Cobra is coming up for auction. And it has the original 289 V8 and the original Kalani 5-speed gearbox. That's sick.
That's pretty cool.
Super stoked for that. We got a Ferrari 212 Export Barchetta that was delivered brand new in 1951 in New York. We have on Bring a Trailer a pre-restoration, original condition, pre-A 356. It's a 1953 356, and it's called a bent window. And it's been kept in New York since 1968. We got this, nearly made it on my two-car garage. The 1952 Ferrari 340 America Berlinetta.
I saw this. Stunning
car. We got a pink pig coming up for sale. We got the Porsche 558 prototype. We have the 1967 Ferrari 412P Berlinetta coming up for auction. Expected to reach over 30 million pounds. Last bit of news.
Jesus.
Ford unveiled a car that actually looks sick. It looks really, really cool. The new $145,000 Ford.
It's in the notes.
So, like I said, the new $145,000 Ford Mustang Dark Horse R is coming out.
Yeah, this looks so good.
It looks so good. And not only that, but Ford, welcome to, I don't know, the world. They're doing a single make series full of them.
Yes, super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is sanctioned by IMSA. Here, I got some notes here that I can read through real quick.
Yeah, I was trying to stick to the notes, man.
No, you're good. It was an excellent segue. So they're going to be $146,595, odd price. Track only car, slots between the Dark Horse road car and the GT4.
Basically a Turbo Cup.
It's basically a Turbo Cup. I also saw it as similar to a GT4 Club Sport came in, but it's not quite as extreme. Like Nick said, it's going to race in a spec series sanctioned by IMSA, which is super cool. Has a 500 horsepower, 5-liter Coyote V8. They are 6-speed manual transmissions, H pattern, not sequential.
That's a shock.
H pattern.
That's a shock.
Torsen limited slip differentials with 373 gears and, the usual, stripped out the interior. It's got a Recaro bucket and a cage and harnesses and stuff, but it looks so good.
It looks better than the GT3. It looks better than the GT4.
It looks, to be fair, what they did is they just took a Dark Horse and then lowered it a bit and widened it a bit and then stuck like a more aggressive. Yeah, it looks so good. I don't know if you've watched any of the new Mustang S650 reviews that have come out kind of this week. I know you've been kind of busy because you're a car person, Nick, and you should care about these things. But that's exactly S650 reviews. S650 reviews have been coming out this week. Yeah. So far, everyone's happy that it exists. That's the most positive thing I've heard.
So yay, it's still a Mustang with a V8.
Yay, people are building naturally aspirated V8 cars with a stick. That's kind of it. It
could have been a Dodge, and I wouldn't really care.
Well, no, it's not that, because it's the Mustang, and the Mustang has always been less of a sports car than the Camaro. The Camaro, for starters, between Mustang, Camaro, and Challenger, if you read reviews, the Camaro's the one to buy. Buy the Camaro, unless you want to do donuts into a crowd of people, in which case buy a Challenger. And if you want to unintentionally do donuts into a crowd of people, buy a Mustang.
If you want to sail across the English Channel, buy a Charger or a Challenger.
True.
If you want to wreck into bystanders, buy a Mustang.
True. But apparently the S650, apparently it's fantastic. Shifter's great because it's the same transmission as last time. Apparently the new motor is awesome.
Okay.
People really dig it. But apparently they like didn't fix the steering, and apparently the steering has like no feel to it. Like the throttle. So Throttle House on YouTube did the best review I saw of the car, and he's basically mid corner and has like two fingers and is just like flicking the wheel back and forth. Like it's just so light. Under cornering, it's crazy.
The other day in the Cayman, I was going through all these 90-degree corners and stuff and doing some overpasses.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this overpass that was basically like it looped under itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was holding the steering on it, and I'm not kidding you. And maybe I'm just, I can't say that word. Maybe I'm just a little baby. But at the end of the corner, I actually, when I unwound, I was like my arms are kind of.
Oh my gosh, hydraulic power steering!
Yeah,
what a concept!
Which, by the way, several of my struts and shocks are all blown on it, so I'm having to spend a few $1,000s on Phil Stevens.
On your high mileage Porsche? No.
But it all in my garage, so
despite the fact that the steering's a bit light, I'm not assuming that Ford purposefully sabotaged the car, but I'm assuming they're leaving room for whatever the Dark Horse plus premium whatever is going to be, because there will be something better, the GT500 or something, but I'm assuming that the Dark Horse R, the GT4 and the GT3 don't have that issue, but it looks fantastic and apparently it's really fun to drive. It's just like the one complaint that people had about the steering of the S550 they just didn't fix with this car is kind of what everyone's upset about, but like it's no worse than the previous car. It's pretty much what everyone said. They enhance
a lot more expensive and arguably not as good looking.
It looks so much better. It's fantastic.
Sorry, I don't want an iPad as my gauges.
I'll tell you what, the gauges are horrible. Like the gauge outside, minty. Inside, throw it away. Don't care for it whatsoever. Get rid of screens.
I like the front, but the rear on it I don't like because I feel like the taillights are getting too scrunched. And then I don't like that they've lost a bit of their division between each of the three.
Yep.
It's starting to look more just like a square.
Yeah, it's turning into one taillight. Okay, so I'll be on. You know what? You're absolutely correct. If I could have the taillight.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I'll drink to that.
All right, he's partially correct. He can't be that good. So if I could have the tail end of the 550 and the nose of the 650 with the interior of the Gen 2 S550, chef's kiss. Later S197s.
No.
Early ones are garbaggio.
No, they're not. They're so good.
To be fair, all American interiors are garbaggio, but that's fine. Moving on.
The earlier S197 one looks better, regardless of quality. I think
it does, but it is a bad quality. But real quick, before we smoothly transition to the Dark Horse R, there was one more auction that I'm surprised Nick did not mention, which is coming up through Arm Sotheby's at Monterey Car Week, which is a rare bird, a 1957 Jaguar XK SS.
Didn't even see it.
Is going up for auction, and they predict it could sell between 12 and 14 million dineros.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's an XKSS. They sell for stupid money all the time.
Oh, that. Yeah, no, I know that one.
Yeah.
Know that one.
Nick, would you like to talk about the greatest car to be debuted in a very long time?
I may have weed a little bit in my pants when I saw this.
A little bit. I weed a lot in my pants when I saw this dude. This thing is awesome.
What's funny is so you have Singer, you have Gunther Works, you have name another one that's another car brand, but that does like not Porsche based, but other car based.
I mean, like there's Eagle. Which you could think about. There's Alphaholics.
What's the one that does the Chargers, all the carbon fiber speed core?
Speed core, yep.
You have all these companies that are like, hey, let's take old dope cars and let's just make them modern, more extreme, but tastefully.
Yep.
That's great. And we live
Fantastic.
in a time where there's enough rich people and enough car culture where you could make almost anything out of history.
If you want it, someone will build it for you.
What I have not understood is how, in the close to 10 years that this has been a trend, let me rewind. Ben,
Yes.
what is arguably the most swapped motor into resto mods?
Oh, well, it would happen to be the one that I have in my car, the Chevrolet LS.
Right. And so what kind of technology is that? What kind of a motor is that?
Well, let's be honest, it's a small block Chevy with some fuel injection.
Well,
I mean, there's some more technical bits, but, very, very simple single in block cam.
And in the world of Chevy V8s, is bigger better?
Yeah, always, actually.
Okay. So that's a lot of power, and that's cool. What's a material that's fairly cheap to make and is super lightweight?
I believe that would be aluminium, as the Brits say.
Fiberglass. So here's
True.
what I'm getting at. How, in the 60 years of knowledge that we have we not thought to ourselves, hey, CanAm was kind of cool. 1,500 horsepower in basically paper mache, and it had a throaty, thrashing V8 behind you with exposed velocity stacks. Maybe
we could do that again.
we could do that, but like more
and maybe less death. Like take the death. We're not saying zero death. Totally possible in this car, but like shrunk down a bit.
Like, yeah, you could buy a Singer, which is essentially a 911.
Yeah,
but you can't just go buy a Porsche 91710 Spider.
Yeah,
and drive it on the road. So
yeah, and you can't go buy a McLaren M8F or whatever. Like, there's all of like 10 of them.
Right.
And you would die because everyone died.
There is no, I can't afford a Singer. I guess I'll buy a 964. Or I can't afford a 964. I guess I'll buy a G5.
It's the other way.
Yeah, it's so nobody goes, man, can't get a McLaren M8. I guess I'll get a nothing. Oh,
nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing in the world. So it's kind of unbelievable to me how nobody sat there and been like, hey, you know what would be sick? Let's just make Can-Am cars, but modern.
I'll tell you what, I've had the idea that doing this would be so cool, building old race cars.
Stop.
But like, no. Like,
credit. You're not going to take credit for this.
Let me start over. Nick Patty, I agree with you. I don't understand.
Don't try to just...
What I meant to say is I don't understand why this hasn't happened sooner.
Yeah, no,
because
it
seems
people need to make a freaking.
So for starters, we haven't even said what the car is. The car is the Nichols N1A.
They'll know. Here's the thing. There's always been these people that are making recreations.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, but you'll have to pay still several $100,000, and it's not the original, and it's not better than the original in any way.
Right, it's probably slower than the original.
There's this lag between like recreations, and then there's people that would take like a beautiful '69 Daytona, put it on bags, and put a supercharger under the hood, and you're like, that does not make it better. Like, please stop.
Might be me. I might have been working on one of those today.
Upgrade it.
Yeah.
But also make it a true, like, seeing this, can I have a King Cobra modern one?
Oh, King Cobra would be awesome. So, some facts about the Nick. For those of you that aren't into the weird world of Can-Am cars, Can-Am was a series raced in the 60s and 70s and 80s?
I think it started in 64, 65, and they killed it in 73.
Right. So McLaren,
they killed it in the late 70s, but because of safety concerns, in like 71, 72, 73, it was like 1,500 horsepower, 2,000 horsepower, and then it got like drastically cut down. Right.
So Can-Am was the Canadian American racing series, and basically they were racing soapbox derby cars with big block Chevys behind your head. And it was awesome.
If you've never heard a 427 in a McLaren, and not just a Chevy 427, but we're talking like
The good ones.
actually aspirated 1,500 horsepower 427 built 50 years ago.
I think by the end, I think the M8 after the M8D, I think it was the M8D because that's the one that Bruce McLaren had his accident in. I think the M8D was like a 520 cubic inch big block Chevy. Like it was crazy stupid power. Like they were making stupid
the
power.
horsepower one was the Mark Donohue Porsche, and that was 1,800 horsepower.
Right, the 91730 at the end.
We just take a step back. Koenigsegg with hybrid, dual motor, electric, internal combustion, whatever the new four-seater with the Gamera or whatever.
Technology, dynos, sensors, all sorts of stuff.
A combination of motors. 2000. Porsche was like, Vivo puts the flat 12 in
more. If we could just get a can of more and dump more of that on there.
Porsche was like, Vivo takes the flat 12, Vivo puts the two turbos on it. Done.
Real fast. Yeah, so basically the 91730 is kind of what killed Can-Am because no one was going to compete with that. So well done, Porsche. You were really fast. But thanks. You know, there was another mildly successful McLaren called the MP44, which, depending on who you ask, was designed by Steve Nichols. And Steve Nichols is a designer who designed F1 cars and various other things. But he really liked...
Much better than Gordon Murray.
As far as designing road cars, yes. Far better. But Steve Nichols really liked McLaren road race cars, Can-Am cars, that sort of thing, from before the Formula One days. And he took inspiration from something called the M1A, which is a gorgeous car. I'll put up pictures here. It looks fantastic.
Somebody that makes like a Lola, one of the peak Lolas, or...
Dude, can we get... I can't remember what the name of the T70 convertible was, but if we can get the T70 Roadster with an LS behind it, that'd be rad. I think it was like the T70B3 or something like that. But Nichols N1A. So basically, Steve Nichols is going to make 100 of these aluminum chassis. It's a extruded aluminum bonded chassis with a carbon fiber body. It has anywhere from a 5.3 to a 5.7 to a 7-liter LS engine. I think you can also actually get an LT1, which is like the C7 Corvette and 6th-gen Camaro motor in it, which is super cool.
I hate to interrupt. I'm just looking up. This was published in 2016 about Can-Am cars. And it had, because I was looking up Can-Am cars, and it's Denny Hume's McLaren. And the road title of the article is Vintage Can-Am Race Cars Are the Perfect Distraction from the Election. No pandering, just V8s.
God, I tell you what, man, they know their audience.
Yeah, I mean... okay, no, this is the one that I think... Hold on, I got to pull up which model this is. This is the one I wish they'd make a modern version of because it's so swoopy, so pretty. All right, now you can keep going. I'm just...
Okay.
I give you...
So basically, Steve Nichols decided that Can-Am cars are super cool, and with the technology we have, like we said, with all these resto mods and recreations, he should build a road-going Can-Am car. You can put a license plate on this. You can drive it down the road. So like I said, aluminum chassis, carbon fiber body. It's a 2-seater. It's not a single-seater. Super cool because right-hand drive, right-hand shift. Super cool. Love that. Gated 6-speed manual transaxle that is developed by Nichols. I looked at it. It looks vaguely Gragiano-ish. But whatever.
So I have one question to ask you.
Yes.
Which, in your opinion, is the best-looking McLaren Can-Am car? Because I think I disagree.
Gosh. I'm going to have to cut so much of this out because there's going to be stand-in time. By the way, if you go to Google and look up McLaren Can-Am car, the 7th picture to come up is a new McLaren Senna. That's stupid, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mine's M1C.
What is it? M1C?
Yes.
We might be thinking about the same car.
Swoopy is better.
Swoopy is better. I would agree. Yep. M1C. Okay, we do agree.
Hell yeah. Look at that,
Yep.
guys. Bringing people
That's.
together here
Oh my
at the car
gosh,
shop.
Nick and I agree on something.
We agree on a few things. It's kind of scary. Do you need to talk? Are you good?
Dude, gorgeous. I'm having an off day. I'm sorry. Gorgeous car. But back to the N1A real quick. I'm going to go through some specs for you just so that you can get kind of an understanding. For starters, if you see a picture of it, it's tiny. I'll try to get a picture of Steve Nichols standing next to it just so you can get a reference of size of this vehicle. So I found some numbers and I'm going to compare them to Nick's Cayman.
Why?
And
why would you do
size wise?
Okay.
Most people have seen a Boxster or a Cayman before, so they can get a size comparison. I'm also going to compare it to a Series 1 Elise just because in one of the videos I was watching about the car, they compared it to a Series 1 Elise. So lengthwise, the N1A is 169 inches long. The Cayman is 172. It's a bit shorter than the Cayman.
Kind of scary, if I'm going to be honest.
Width-wise, it is 69.3 inches. The Cayman is 70.9, so it's only about an inch and a half shorter than narrower than the Cayman.
That's scary.
Height-wise,
why is it so
Cayman
small?
Height-wise, the Cayman is 51.4 inches tall. That is the top of the roof. Okay. The N1A is 38.9 inches tall. By the way, that's the top of the roll bar, not the top of the door. All right. The front track is is an inch and a half narrower than the Cayman, and the rear track is an inch and a half narrower than the Cayman. Wheelbase is longer than the Cayman. So the N1A has a wheelbase of 96.5 inches, whereas the Cayman is 95 inches. So it's shorter in overall length, but they pushed the wheels out. Weight. The Cayman weighs 2976 is the number that I found.
Yep.
Okay. The N1A.
Can I take a guess?
Please.
1,400 pounds.
You're heavy, 1,984 pounds. I'd like it noted, it's 1,000 pounds lighter than the Cayman. 1,000 pounds is crazy when talking small sports cars, okay?
How much does it cost?
They haven't said.
So a lot.
But by the way, means it's $1.5 million is what that means. It's got to be stupid money because the R&D has to be crazy because it's its own, like the thing about like a Singer, a Gunther, an Alphaholics or whatever. You're starting with something. Mm-hmm. They started with a picture of something from the 60s and said, let's build something that somewhat looks like this.
So what are we doing? Tomorrow. Build an M1C out of a fiberglass and throw a Chevy 5.3 in it out of a truck.
I was actually going to do that this weekend. So front tires, just for if you're wondering about grippiness, front tires, Cayman 235 4018s. The Nichols, has 245 4019. So 10 mil wider.
Same.
More tire, basically the same. Rear tire, however.
Oh Lord.
On the Cayman, 265 4018. Okay, 265s. Nichols 305 3020. Now here's the thing. I don't like that it's got big wheels on it. I don't like that it has a 19 up front, a 20 in the rear, because that's not at all correct to the CanAm series. But listening to an interview with Steve Nichols about the car is basically said he wanted to run a standard size Michelin tire. He didn't want to have to go through development. He wanted the car to be simple. So he developed a car from the ground up. But you can go to Tire Rack and buy tires for it. Thank God.
You can get a tire, they can slap some on there,
So, but it does come with Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s on it, is the tire that it comes with. So they're running a modern tire. Another thing, by the way, mind you, the Cayman weighs 1,000 pounds more than the Nichols, okay? And it makes 295 horsepower, all right? The Nichols makes 460.
Which is not a lot.
Or 650.
Still not a lot.
Which, by the way, when it weighs 1,900 pounds, is a ton, but it's not CanAm crazy.
No, it's not.
It's not CanAm.
Kills the whole thing. I didn't know that. Kills the whole thing.
Okay,
If
it's
you're
not
going to
Can-Am crazy.
build a Can-Am car, it has to have a minimum of 800 horsepower. Minimum.
Okay, here's the thing though. For starters, it's an LS. If you want it to make 1,000 horsepower, that's fine. We can do that in a day.
Oh, no.
Um,
But if he was like, man, I really love this car. I want to build a new tribute to that, and you just cut the horsepower in half. That's not even
okay, so
Can-Am cars inevitably weighed less. They were like 1,400 pounds, 1,500.
So here's the thing. The reason why I brought up the Series 1 Elise. For starters, Series 1 Elise is smaller in length. It weighs 300 pounds less than the Nichols.
Narrower.
It's narrower. It's smaller in every direction except for height to the Nichols. And the McLaren M1A, which this was based upon, was smaller in every direction compared to the Elise. But here's the thing. Steve Nichols said it weighs more than he wanted it to. It makes less power than he wanted it to.
It's his damn car.
But he's building a road car.
So?
And he said anything more with 650 horsepower, you cannot drive on the road. It makes no sense. The car is undrivable.
Ben?
Yes.
This guy started with the inspiration of rebuilding a car that was supposed to mimic a race car.
Yes. But it's not a race car.
That the series died because it was too dangerous. And then he says, it would have been too much it would have been too extreme if I put any more. Listen, guy, Hennessy's making shit that's got thousands of horsepower in it.
But they don't weigh 1,900 pounds and not have a roof.
Nobody's saying, Hennessy, that's too much power. Koenigsegg, 2,000 horsepower? Oh, that's undrivable.
I'll tell you what, though. I bet you that thing is terrifying to drive.
Radford, just same horsepower. Probably not just as, very close.
No, I think a Radford weighs 2,700 pounds, 2,800 pounds.
Either way, they're like, no assist. No, hard to drive. Screw it. That's the point. You don't like it?
So that is the other thing about the Nichols. Traction control, ABS, and stability control are optional.
Would you take the Radford Type 62-2 or this?
Oh, this 100% without question.
Not even close.
I would step over a Radford to get to this car, dude. I would do horrible things to have an N1A. It is the coolest car, dude. It's so cool. It's okay. It looks good. It has a V8. It's manual and it's light. In 2023, that doesn't exist other than this car.
It's
for a new car. It's amazing.
Right, but
can you get lighter cars? Yes. Can you get faster cars? Yes. Can you get cars with more V8? Yes. But new today, no. It's super cool. I love it.
You're telling me if you got a Radford Type 62-2 Gold Leaf or JPS, you would not take that vehicle over the N1A?
Yeah, dude. Any car that has a license plate and a helmet is recommended, instantly superior.
That's what the Radford is.
No, the Radford has a roof.
You still need a helmet.
Well, you should probably wear a helmet in my car, but
You really think Nichols looks better?
I don't know. The Radford's a very pretty car. I'm just trying to give you a hard time, especially the JPS.
Because I was about to just end the freaking podcast.
No, I'll be honest though. If I'm gonna own one, Type 62-2. If I'm gonna drive one,
I'd still rather drive the Radford around the track.
Nah, because I think the N1A would kill me sooner. So
Ben's Nichols. Like, this is all just a ploy for me to get out of my misery.
But Nichols N1A, super cool. Can we talk about a car, Nick, that you aren't interested in whatsoever?
Potentially.
Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about the Manifattura Automobili Torino Kalani.
All right, I'm just going to copy paste that into Google.
I put pictures. By the way, if you copy and paste into Google, you won't find anything. So this is a new track car that is slowly being debuted. There are pictures of it, but we don't have all the specs for it. Yeah. So
Yes.
Manifattura Automobili Torino,
God, I love
which
hearing
we're going to refer to as MAT now. So MAT helps companies develop special projects is basically what they do. So they helped develop the new Stratos, the thing that's based on the Ferrari 430,
Yep.
the Aspark Owl, the electric hypercar that was on Top Gear a few years ago,
Okay.
the Glickenhaus SCG 003, both the race car
Success.
and the road car, the Apollo IE, that crazy V12 spaceship looking thing, the 273 Potenza, which Nick and I talked about on a very early episode of this, the new Ferrari 288 GTO thing, the new 288 that someone's building.
I just found a 1970 Lotus Europa for 18 grand, and it's in good.
Is it white? Is it white and blue?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that was a lucky guess. I'm not looking at Europas. It's not a tab open right now. Whatever. So MAT helped develop the 273 Potenza, the new Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale resto mod that we talked about.
Yes.
And then now they helped a company called Oldbach, OLDBAC. It's in Estonia. I'm definitely pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure you're pronouncing it perfectly, actually.
And they just debuted a car called the Kalani, which I'm also pronouncing wrong because it's Estonia. It's all carbon fiber. It's the first Estonian designed supercar. Not sure that's something to brag about, but it is.
Definitely not when it looks like that.
So we don't know what engine's in it. We don't know how much it's going to cost. This could be the only one they build, but I found it incredibly interesting because it has a drag coefficient of 0.7. By the way, this is going to get very nerdy very quickly, by the way. So Nick, Patty, if you just want to go get a new beer or something, yeah. Drag coefficient of 0.7, which, by the way, is about equivalent to a Formula One car today.
My brother-in-law just walked into the room, and when you said that, he about shot himself.
Perfect. So drag coefficient of 0.7, which, for reference, by the way, most road cars today are about 0.3, but they're not trying to make downforce. Formula One cars are about 0.7 as well. And it makes 4,850 pounds of downforce. By the way, it's suspected to weigh about 2,200 pounds.
Hey, you've missed the most important part of this.
What?
It doesn't look very cool.
No, it's a race car. It doesn't look good. This is what happens.
We're talking about CanAm cars, which look badass as hell.
Right. And this is what, here's the thing though. This is what happens when we have wind tunnels and computers. When we just had wind tunnels, things looked awesome. Now that we've started letting the computers design the cars, they look like this. Which from an engineering standpoint looks really cool.
There is no.
It's not pretty.
No.
From an engineering standpoint, it looks impressive.
If you yarn onto a car, you get the GT40. With computers, you get this piece of shit.
Which I bet you would run circles around a GT40.
I don't care.
I'm not talking about looks. I'm talking about performance.
No, everyone would choose to drive the GT40. No one.
I would choose to drive the GT40.
Right. So who cares? If nobody...
I do. This thing's awesome.
My brain hurts.
So the Kalani has a drag coefficient of 0.7. It makes 4,850 pounds of downforce, but it has a lift coefficient of negative 3.9, which no one knows what that means, but I do because I'm a nerd. Basically, a lift coefficient is the amount of lift you make for how much drag you have, which started from planes because we've been making planes go up longer than we've been trying to make cars go down. So when you get a negative lift coefficient, that's your downforce coefficient, basically.
Yeah,
but negative 3.9 is crazy efficient. That is more efficient than a current Le Mans hypercar, and it is far more efficient than a Formula One car. Nick has no idea that he's been muted this whole time.
Literally not.
He can't fix it. It's glorious. I'll put it back. Please, sir. You're welcome back. I just had to get through that real quick.
To know that negative lift, so not lift, if it's not lifting, it's going down.
I had to explain this to people today when I was talking about this car.
Well, those people are idiots.
those people build cars. So, but yeah, super cool. Really like it. I really like these track special things. I think it looks really cool, and I think it's super impressive, especially with how fast race cars have been getting
How fast
recently. Huh?
What's its top speed?
They haven't said, Nick. They haven't said anything about it other than these numbers.
So we don't even have a horsepower?
We don't have the horsepower. I don't know what engine's in it. I don't know how much it costs. No.
It could be an EV, and I still won't care.
It's not an EV. I heard it. It's definitely internal combustion engine powered.
I don't understand these. This is what happens when you give some nerds in Eastern Europe a computer, and they got nothing else better to do.
I wish I was a nerd in Eastern Europe with a computer, nothing better to do. Anyway, we're going to talk about one more car that Nick doesn't care about.
You're a nerd in Central Texas with a computer, nothing to do.
Oh, there we go.
You go with a 4th gen.
I'm doing something wrong. God damn it, America. But there's a car called the Zenvo Aurora, which we have talked about in the past. You can look it up. You won't find a picture of it. It doesn't exist yet. Nick, read the notes, my guy. You will see. Right, you will see that the Aurora is to debut August 18th, as I've said in the notes that I gave you. But they have debuted the engine that's going in it.
Different notes than I do, because oh wow, you've added a lot. When I checked earlier, I'm not kidding you. You can ask them, because I came in to write the 2-car garage. I came out, I was like 2 pages. There's almost nothing. I was like, this is going to be a short episode. And now you're over here like, if you check the notes, well, maybe I did. Maybe there's nothing in there.
It's 5 pages. Yeah, it's how this works. It's how notes work. The Aurora is going to launch August 18th. It is the new hypercar. It is the successor to the, what is it? Zenvo TS1? ST1? I can't remember what it's called. The weird purple thing that Shmi has. But they have debuted the engine that's going in it, and it is getting a quad turbo hybrid 6.6 liter V12. So there you go. It's going to make 1,250 horsepower. It's going to rev to 9,800 RPM. It's going to have a 600 horsepower hybrid system. It'll make 1,850 horsepower.
The amount of cylinders, double the turbos, and a hybrid system, and it makes 600 horsepower less than the 917.
Because it's a road car, not a race car.
Hey, remember what Mr. Nichols said? You don't need more than 600 horsepower.
You don't.
Right. So then
I drive a car with 500 horsepower, and it's dumb.
We're not worried about whether or not it's a road car.
But this is a road car.
The thing is I'm tired of like hearing, oh, it makes over 1,000 horsepower. It's like, yeah, but that's been the case for 50 years. Do something that's like Koenigsegg will give it to him 2,100 horsepower.
Yeah, that car's really dumb.
Variant, like, that's groundbreaking.
Yep.
1,200 is like 4 of my cars put together, but still dumb.
Yes.
And also not impressive.
Very impressive.
It's
impressive. It's impressive. Have you ever been in a 1,200 horsepower car?
No, but my point is on
it's stupid.
On old Firestone tires with crappy brakes, they were throwing 1,800 horsepower into it.
And everyone died.
Mark Donohue didn't die in the 917.
One guy didn't die.
Fulmer didn't.
Oh, fine. You got like 6 dudes that didn't die.
Derek Bell.
Yeah. All old race cars make more power than current race cars. NASCAR used to make more power than they currently make. F1 cars used to make more power than they currently make. The only thing that makes more power...
Disappointing, though, if you're a boutique manufacturer that is making these like high horsepower, ultra limited production. It's like, guys, y'all aren't even doing anything that nobody else is doing. Like, you're literally...
Quad turbo hybrid V12s no one else is doing. That's cool.
But the cars are ugly. The Zenvo cars look hideous.
Yeah. But it's cool.
It looks like a mid-2000s Bionicles Lego set.
Good reference. Good
To
reference.
a Lotus Evora.
I love the Evora, and I loved Bionicles when I was 7.
Mixed with Lego Bionicles.
Oh, well, that's pretty lame. I think it's super cool. I can't wait till it comes out. It'll probably look pretty cool. I think all Zenvos have looked cool. Not good. Cool. That's it.
No,
Cool.
You can't. That's distinction without difference.
What do you mean I can't do that? They look cool. They don't look pretty.
It's a logical fallacy. You can't say it looks cool but not good.
It can look cool, but not good.
Cool is good.
My Camaro looks cool, but not good. It doesn't look anything. It's just bad. I know. I'm sorry.
It doesn't look cool.
Nick, Patty, do you have anything of value to add to this podcast?
Not of value, no.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the final episode of the Clutch Dump podcast. This has been it for us. This is episode it's 63, I think.
And it was 122 for a point today, and 123 yesterday.
That is spicy. How's the Cayman doing? Is it okay?
Not the suspension.
I didn't ask if the suspension was okay. Is it overheating?
Now the brakes are making a really weird noise. It's not a squeal. It is like a grind. And I'm like...
you have no brake pads. Perfect.
That's what I figured.
Yep. Sick. Well,
I'm gonna cry.
If Nick cries, we'll let you know on episode 64 of the Clutch Dump, because this has been episode 63. Like Nick said at the top of the show, make sure you go follow us on the gram at the Clutch Dump. Make sure you subscribe to us.
I'm going to interrupt your outro. You did not just say follow us on the gram.
Follow us on the gram. Yeah. Anyway, this is what happens when Nick isn't in charge of me.
He's about to play Gangnam Style in the background because he thinks it's 2015.
Life was better in 2015. Anyway, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on, make sure you give us a follow, leave a rating, and a review if you can. If you're on the YouTubes, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and share the video, turn the notification bell on so that you know when the latest episode drops. That's going to do it from Nick and I here at episode 63 of The Clutch Dump. We'll see you next time.